What's up, Big Ten fans? Michael Dugan here from internsbig10.com. We got Week 6 picks coming at you. Leading off, Northwestern in East Lansing against Michigan State. This is a pretty banged-up Northwestern team. No Nate Hall, they're missing a couple of key defenders in this one. I liked what I saw in the first half against Michigan last week. I just don't think they go into East Lansing and win this game. I'm going to be kicking myself if they do, because this feels like one of those Northwestern games where they come out and fight for pretty much the full 60 minutes, but I've got Michigan State in this one. I think there's just too much talent on that Michigan State team against an already thin Northwestern team that's going to become even thinner this week without an offensive identity. I've got Michigan State in this one. I've got Michigan just going over a couple of miles. I've got Michigan in the Big House against Maryland. They're 17.5-point favorites. I think that's about right. I've got Michigan winning this one. 4 o'clock, Indiana, Ohio State. I got the Buckeyes in there. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. I've got the Buckeyes. I think they cover that as well. They're so talented from top to bottom. Illinois and Rutgers, man. I don't know how to pick this game. I've gone back and forth. Illinois 5-point favorites. Vegas usually knows something. I think Rutgers has a little bit more talent here, but Illinois, I think, has showed more of a fight so far this season, especially the first half, 3 quarters against Penn State. So I'll take Illinois on the road in this one, but again, nothing will shock me, whatever happens in this game. 2 games left, neither of which are terribly interesting, but Iowa, Minnesota definitely takes the cake in terms of what the game means and really just best football game of the weekend. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this one too. I think Minnesota's due for something. They haven't really done much throughout the season, despite being 3-1. It's a pretty underwhelming 3-1. Tyler Johnson, wide receiver for Minnesota, 22 catches, almost 300 yards, 5 touchdowns on the year. I don't really know much about this team. I don't know much about almost any team in the Big Ten West outside of Wisconsin, and what we know is they probably won't make the playoff because of that home loss against BYU. This is a very tough game for me. On the road, I think won't matter a whole lot. I don't know how many Minnesota fans are going to turn out for this one. I just know that it's not at Kinnick, which means Iowa's not a lock to win this game. I've gone back and forth on this, like I said, a bunch of times. But I think I know a little bit more about Iowa than I do about Minnesota. But I'm going with the Gophers in this one. I'm going with the Gophers in the upset. I think PJ Fleck gets his win. I don't know much about this Gopher team. I'm still trying to figure out their identity, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. We've seen flashes here and there. We don't know a whole lot about this Gopher team, and we're with Iowa, they haven't seemed to click quite yet. So I'm going with Minnesota in the upset. You got to pick one of these games every week if you want to be right. For no rhyme or reason, I got Minnesota in this one. And then Nebraska, Wisconsin, I got the Badgers. This is a pretty down week in the Big Ten. There's got to be an upset. It's October in the Big Ten Conference in college football. There has to be an upset this week. It's not going to be Indiana, Ohio State. It probably won't be Maryland and Michigan. And then it probably won't be Northwestern, Michigan State. It definitely won't be Nebraska, Wisconsin. So I think the next most logical thing is Minnesota, Iowa. It has to happen. Give me the Gophers in this one. Again, an interesting week in Big Ten. There's not a whole lot of intrigue going in, which of course means that it's going to get absolutely wild come about 4:30 Eastern on Saturday when a couple of the ranked teams are down. But it gets better next week when we've got Michigan State in Happy Valley and then Wisconsin, Michigan under the lights in the Big House. That's going to be a huge, huge matchup for Michigan if they want to catapult themselves into national relevance and take that. And they're already nationally relevant, but if they want to take that next step and people respect Jim Harbaugh just a little bit more, I think that's a big opportunity for Michigan. But that's next week, and this is this week. Let's enjoy these games on Saturday. Root for some upsets, root for some good football. We'll catch you guys on Monday.